Welcome back, everyone. We're so glad to see all of you filtering back in. I hope you had a nice break. You're now in for a real treat. We're going to get a really fascinating presentation by Terry Baker, the CEO of PandoLogic, talking about programmatic job advertising. Terry, floor is all yours.
Well, thank you, Peter, and thank you all, SHRM and TA Tech community. It's my pleasure to be here today. I did hear a little bit of the earlier presentations. I was so pleased to hear the focus on job postings as the entry point, an important point for you to get right. And what we're going to be talking about today is how to take those job postings and to advertise them programmatically in a new way that hasn't been done before. So I'm happy to be with you to share with you how to do that. I'm the CEO of PandoLogic. PandoLogic is a leader in the programmatic job advertising marketplace. And I've been in talent acquisition, dare to say, going on 20 years now. So it's my pleasure to be sharing with you today. This pandemic, as you all know, has created a significant amount of adversity. And I like the quote from Roy Maurer, the editor of talent acquisition for SHRM, who has said that 2020's adversities are going to certainly inform talent acquisition trends. The way the marketplace is changing is going to change the way talent acquisition works in very dramatic fashion and in very big ways. So I'm here today to share with you some of the insights as to what that change is going to look like. And we believe here at PandoLogic that we're at the forefront of a revolution. And I don't think it could be clearer to us and to the talent acquisition marketplace. Just in March, in America, we reached an all-time peak, record high number of job postings, 8.2 million open job postings. So we're seeing huge demand for talent. The problem is that the supply side of the equation has been sidelined. And it's becoming increasingly difficult to place talent within those employers. In fact, the people that are most dramatically impacted negatively by this trend are SMBs, the small, medium employers, the restaurants, the hospitality, the retail providers that are struggling to fill positions. In fact, a recent survey by the Federation of Independent Businesses said that 1 out of every 4 job postings is just not going to be filled this year for SMBs. So that's a problem because it means if the way in which you've been going about trying to attract talent, putting up the now hiring sign or taking a posting and manually posting it on a job board, those mechanisms aren't going to work very well, and certainly not as well as they may have worked in the past. So we're going to have to revolutionize the talent acquisition marketplace. And I think we're posed to do just that. And I want to introduce a video that shows you a little bit about our view on the talent revolution. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you recognized some of the faces in that video. Certainly when we've seen the revolution across different technologies, whether it's taking flight or just being able to hold in your hand what used to take a room to fill up in terms of computing power, that revolution, it's coming to talent acquisition. And we want to invite you to join us as we move forward. So, welcome to the Talent Revolution. The power of programmatic. Well, let's talk about essentially what programmatic is. We are a machine learning platform. So, when we think of a machine, we think of all these components working really well together, highly mechanized. And for us, it means connecting the right things. It means getting the right ad, the right job description at targeted to the right talent, the right audience, at the right place on the right job board site at the right time and at the right cost. And that's what programmatic does quite simply. It automates that entire process, not just getting jobs distributed out to the internet, but to doing it in an intelligent way and to doing it in a way that has a dramatic impact. So as we embark on this revolution, and again, we're enjoying inviting you to join us to do that, we think it's really time for a change for talent acquisition. And if you can implement these changes, it's going to make you a change leader within your organization. It's going to give you three distinct advantages to stay ahead of the marketplace, stay ahead of your hiring demands. The first way in which we think you're going to benefit from this kind of a revolution in talent acquisition is through transparency. And that's the ability to understand how the system is making decisions on your behalf. How's the budget being allocated? How are sites being targeted? And give you analytics related to data that makes it transparent on decisioning. The second thing is making it transparent on cost analysis and to give you actual metrics relative to which jobs are performing, which ones aren't, what sites are performing in relative comparison to other sites, and what are your conversion rates and how is that impacting your ability to hire quicker, faster, and at lower cost. And then the third is detailed reporting, and to have that reporting on an aggregate level to see all of the jobs being advertised as well as on an individual job level and what's being done uniquely per job in the budget related to that job to make that job perform. That's what programmatic is. It's giving you fully automated decisioning. It's giving you campaign management at your fingertips, and it's giving you advantage in terms of understanding data. Oftentimes, as demand increases, as we're seeing in the marketplace, and supply of job seekers is harder to find, you're going to expand the platforms that you're going to work with in order to reach those unique types of job seekers. And what that means is more money typically and more problems, because now you've got to manage a lot more different sources and understand the difference in conversion rate, cost, performance, quality of candidate across all of these different sources. So when it comes to job advertising, you could be running social media ads, you could be posting jobs and sponsoring jobs on general job boards like Glassdoor or Indeed or Monster. You could be targeting ideal candidate profiles on communities and doing database matching and trying to engage people who aren't going to go on a job board. They may not be on social media, but you're going to find them in a database, and you've got to create the level of engagement that's going to motivate them to engage with you and even apply to a job. And then you've got display advertising on traditional media sites. And you've also got targeting on really niche job board sites, diversity job board sites in particular. All of these are important channels for reaching the talent you need to reach. The problem is it creates a significant effort in order to do this efficiently. And that's where programmatic comes in. And just to give you kind of a 30,000-foot view of programmatic and how it's evolved in the marketplace and the benefits of programmatic, most of us are familiar with where the market was some time ago, and that's just posting classified jobs in the newspaper or posting a job for a period of time, 30 days on Monster or Career Builder. And then the notion of job automation came around, and the old days of just manually posting a job to one site, those days are kind of over. And now what we've got is distributed job automation. So the ability to post a job to a site and have it syndicated across additional sites. And there are lots of tools that do that for you. But just syndicating jobs non-intelligently with no difference in terms of budget or targeted bids, it isn't going to enable you to get the effectiveness and the efficiency that you really need. And that's where programmatic comes into play. And if you're not doing programmatic today, it's okay. There aren't a whole lot of organizations that are. In fact, programmatic is just at the early stages of really displacing the traditional job advertising model. We believe about 10% of the marketplace has actually adopted programmatic. But we're moving now from those innovators, early adopters, into what the marketing technology adoption lifecycle curve would call the early majority, jumping the chasm and putting forth a product that can be easily used and easily adopted by the rest of us, the 80% of the market that maybe is still doing things the old way. And if you want a platform that does that, you have to have a platform that works in a fully automated basis, one that doesn't require you to hire, a data analytics technician or a day trader for talent and deploy that talent to manage the platform. You need the platform to be self-sustaining and intelligent and fully automated. And if you can do that, not only do you gain the efficiencies and the efficacy of a really high performing job advertising campaign, but you can do it at scale. And that's the real value of programmatic. And that's why the adoption curve on programmatic has been so dramatic. It's all about transforming your lead funnel and meeting your hire needs while maximizing the recruitment ad spend. And we think there's a formula to doing that. In fact, the Panda Logic formula is based upon big data. And what we help you do is solve for X. Most employers, and I'll explain what X is in a minute, but most employers, they obviously know how many hires they need to make. And most of them also know how many applicants it takes to get a hire. If you know that, then you're basically already halfway through the equation. Why is the number of leads that you need in order to fill the workforce requirement hires that you're targeted to do? What you don't have is X. And X is the optimal recruiting budget that is going to transform the targeted number of leads at a rate of adoption and conversion that gives you the hires you need. So X is what we're solving for and what we deliver with the Panda Logic formula. And X starts with your job posting. We take your job postings, we run them through a natural language processor, and we collect a lot of data. We take unstructured, descriptive data, we turn it into structured data that's actionable, that we can use for targeting audiences. And that goes far beyond just job title and location. It includes skill sets, specific keywords related to certifications or requirements, experience, right? Education, salary requirements, all of those data variables we use to formulate a prediction on what the optimal recruiting budget is to produce the optimal yield. And we actually provide that for prospects and clients in advance of running any campaigns. And in today's world of trying to find the right amount of talent, there's a lot of trial and error. There's a lot of A/B testing. There's a lot of push a job out, see how it performs, look at the data, change it, go back out to market, buy another job posting, pay a different rate, see how that performs. And it's an iterative process to figure out what's the right amount of spend to produce the right amount of quality applicants. And what we can do is automate that process through the Panda Logic formula, give you a prediction of what the optimal yield is and the optimal budget before you spend a nickel. And so that's kind of nice to have that in advance and to know what the expectation should be for a programmatic campaign. Well, how do we do that? Well, we quite simply, we automate the entire process. So we optimize your job advertising programmatic terrain by using big data and algorithms and machine learning. So we have 12 different proprietary algorithms. You see them in the circle here that begin with building that prediction on what the yield is, not just on an individual job, but on the aggregate of all of your jobs. And then we have algorithms that produce the optimal budget recommendation and budget prioritization. So if there's some easier to fill jobs, they get less of the budget. There's harder to fill jobs, they get more of the budget. And then we monitor that bidding process. And when we find targeted sites that aren't performing, we cut them off from the budget. We redirect that spend automatically in real time to sites that are going to have a higher conversion rate for you. We do dynamic bidding that enables us to adjust the bid to market conditions, adjust the bid to competitive rates, and to ensure you're getting the traffic that you need to fill your positions. We bring a lot of other things to the table. We automatically do something called job expansion. So Today's world, there's a lot of remote workers. And if you're not fixed to a particular zip code or mile radius from a physical location, we can optimize where the best demographic source of applicants are for your type of job on a remote basis without having to blast it out and pay and spray and advertise everywhere to see who might be willing to take a remote job. That saves you money at the end of the day and it gives you higher quality applicants. So we believe this approach, kind of a higher intelligent approach to targeting the right sites with the right job at the right cost, is going to deliver applicants faster, smarter, and more efficiently. So our goal is to streamline your advertising process. That streamlining happens because now you don't have to have contracts with 10 different job board vendors, right? Now you don't have to have 10 different data silos to aggregate all that data and see which job site actually is performing better for certain types of jobs. All of that can be automated. When you do that, you get a better ROI, and you can measure that ROI on the number of applicants, the number of quality applicants, and the number of hires. And then talent acquisition becomes a strategic resource to the organization, driving better talent throughout the hiring process. We can target and we can engage the right candidates, and we can provide flexibility. You know, hiring is sometimes a seasonal effort. Sometimes it's start and stop. And so when you need that kind of flexibility, you want to have the ability to turn the dial on your campaigns, turn it up, turn it down, and have the system automatically perform and scale to the level that you need. And then most importantly, we want to centralize your job advertising spend. A lot of recruitment postings of jobs on job boards happen directly by recruiters. And oftentimes they're using very small amounts of data. You know, this job used to perform on this site. I hope it's going to perform as well going forward. That kind of hope and pray strategy isn't working in today's tight labor demand market. So what we do is we centralize that so that every job is automatically campaigned at the right level, at the right amount. And the recruiter doesn't have to worry about which site should I pick and which site should I pay to have that job advertised. Gives the recruiter the ability to spend time on a lot more functional things like actually qualifying and closing applicants. So we reach candidates where they are, not where you think they might be or where they used to be. And that, of course, includes not only a lot of the top major labels that you see here, Monster, Career Builder, Glassdoor, Indeed, ZipRecruiter, but also a lot of niche sites. We have a network of hundreds, if not thousands of sites that we can syndicate jobs on based upon whether or not that job board has an audience at the right price for the kind of candidate that your unique job posting requires. So programmatic performs control, navigate, and drive, and it's a fun experience once you experience it. We kind of liken it to a Tesla. If you saw that revolutionized video that we had earlier, you might have seen Tesla wink, because what we're providing is a fully automated experience. The ability to get in the car, set the GPS, and let the car drive and make the decisions relative to speed, control, GPS, and adapt itself automatically to changes in the commute. And those changes are dramatic in today's marketplace with the tight labor and high demand. You need to react quickly as competition changes and supply and demand changes. And so what the Tesla provides that's unique is the ability to sit back, relax, and not have to navigate, to let the system do it. But if you want control, you can grab the wheel, you can put your foot on the gas, and you can take over. So when things change, you've got that level of control. But I would equate most job advertising processes today to more like cruise control on a 1980 Chevy, where I can set the cruise control and it's going to go at the same speed, but it doesn't matter what's happening around me. If the traffic starts and stops, if the GPS changes, you've got to adapt to that yourself. So it's a fun experience and it's quite a ride. We did some research relative to programmatic. Actually, it was published in a report by Aptitude Research. Madeline Lorana was the analyst on this. She interviewed over 300 talent acquisition specialists in the marketplace today. And she asked them really important questions like, what is critical? in terms of programmatic. And this is the response that she got. First of all, 51% of respondents said that job ad targeting is the most important capability. Being able to understand the job, the requirements, the experience, the skill set, the salary, the education, and then equate that to the right audience and target it to the right location. Secondly, at 27% of all respondents said budget allocation was important. Not just post and pray at a single rate and hope you get results, but actually have a budget allocation relative to how hard that job is to fill and relative to supply and demand and the competition who's also trying to hire for that talent. So budget allocation is important, and that's a critical capability of programmatic. 43% said campaign effectiveness. And campaign effectiveness is simple to measure. It's your cost per click, your cost per applicant, and your cost per hire. And the ability to have that in real time at a dashboard that you can see at any moment gives you not only security that the campaign is working, but it helps you tie the effectiveness of your campaign to your hiring needs. So again, you can turn that dial up and down as demand changes. 26% said job ad classification was important. And I actually think this is a really critical one, because if you've got, for example, a job title called product manager and it's in San Francisco, that job could be a marketing organization or it could be a software development firm. If it's working in marketing, a product manager job is going to have a whole lot of different skills and certification and requirements and experience than a product manager job working in a software development organization reporting into, say, product development. Very two different things. But if all you know is the job title and the job location, and you're not classifying that job based upon the skills, the certification, the requirements, the experience, et cetera, then you're just wasting effort. And you're probably promoting that job to sites that don't have the qualified applicants that you need. And then finally, the last criteria that was identified, 37% of talent acquisition workers today said performance prediction was important. The ability to know before you spend money what the optimal yield is going to be. And setting the right budget is critical, and it's one of the key deliverables and capabilities of programmatic. In additional benefits, we think that benefits need to be quantifiable, right? And talent acquisition organizations, they need to promote within the organization the effectiveness of their job advertising. And today we know that 40% of all job advertising, which by the way is typically the single largest budget line item for the talent acquisition organization, is the cost of job advertising. So if you're spending more on job advertising than you are on any other talent acquisition cost, it's really important that you not waste money. And we know today in the traditional means of advertising, about 40% of the budget's wasted because it goes to sites that don't perform. It's spending money at the wrong bid rate to acquire applicants. And here you can see some of the significant performance increases across the board, again, documented by Aptitude Research from real talent acquisition operators. 40% said targeting and engaging the right candidates is quantifiable. You will see conversion rates by site and at cost for every site that has your jobs distributed. Streamlining job advertising, 32%. And this is the ability to enable and eliminate, enable automation and eliminate manual processes so that there's one source to job distribution, one budget to managing that distribution, and one dashboard to optimizing that distribution. The next one's interesting. 28% said improving diversity sourcing. Diversity, equity, inclusion are important attributes in today's hiring marketplace. Most diversity initiatives in the old model of job advertising was really about compliance. I need to get my job up on the local, state, unemployment job board site and a couple diversity sites so I can check the box and ensure that from a OFCCP standpoint, I'm above board and I'm not going to get audited. And if I do, I'll pass an audit because I threw some jobs on some diversity job board sites. What that doesn't do is actually deliver high quality diversity applicants and hires. So you need a process, which Programmatic can do, whereby not only are we just targeting diversity sites, but we're enabling through a unique application workflow the ability for diversity candidates to raise their hands, self-nominate on the level of their diversity and the status of their diversity, so that you don't have any bias on the hiring manager. All of the work is being done in an unbiased programmatic approach. And then 26% said one of the key quantifiable benefits of programmatic is maximizing ROI. A typical programmatic campaign can save anywhere from 30 to 66% of cost at the same applicant volume. So think about that. If you had, 30 to 60% savings in your budget, where else could you spend some of that money? Maybe on some more people. Or if you have the need, given the tight labor market, being able to keep the same budget, but just drive significant more volume in terms of quality applicants. And then the last one identified there is 26% of talent acquisition operators said it just provides them more flexibility to have that dashboard, to interact on the dashboard just like you would in a Tesla, set the GPS and change the dial if you want in terms of volume, speed, and scale, all at your fingertips. Two of the additional benefits as compared to traditional advertising means is one, the ability to fill that position in less time. Typically that's 2x less time to fill. And on quality of applicants, it's typically 3 times higher quality if you use programmatic as opposed to a traditional method of manual posting of jobs. So I want to share with you that here programmatic is not just for large enterprise organizations that have a lot of money to spend. I want to give you a case study here of an organization, small hiring process that has used programmatic. It's become critical to what they do. So I want to share with you the story about a company called NVR Pizza. Now NVR Pizza is in Virginia. They're a Domino's franchise operator. They have a number of different Domino's retail outlets, and they were spending all of their money with a single job board. Why were they doing just a single job board? Because the manual effort to do more than one was too taxing on them for this few number of jobs that they had available. So this is a name brand job board they were using. You've probably seen ads for them on TV or Super Bowl. And it was just easy for them to take their job and automatically send it to the same site. But they found that they weren't reaching the candidates they needed to run their business effectively. They were spending about $200 a month per franchise on basically 5 different job positions, from delivery driver to pizza maker to cashier to store manager, those types of positions. And what they found is that a platform like Panda IQ from PandaLogic provided them with AI-enabled real-time optimization. Now, if you asked the store manager who's not in talent acquisition, they're just trying to get people in the door and hire them. If you asked them what AI-enabled real-time optimizations were, they couldn't tell you. Why? Because it's done automatically by the system. They don't have to know that that's how it works. They just see the results. We were able to diversify the sites that attracted the most talent. Right? So some sites work better than others. By figuring out which sites have the best talent for a Domino's employer branded retail outlet, enabled them to concentrate that little budget, $200 a month that they had, on those optimal sites and extract the most return from them. They benefited from automatic geographical expansion and title expansion. Oftentimes there are Domino franchises located within a certain commute radius. So if you had a qualified job seeker, they might be able to go to one or more different Domino Pizza retail outlets for work. Knowing that gives you the ability to concentrate that job distribution and job promotion in a unique way to reach that same audience across multiple retail outlets. And then to have predictive analytics so they can plan for their workforce hiring. So I'm happy to share with you just some of the results from the franchisee NVR Pizza. They increased the total number of hires 15% across the board month over month. And their applicant volume increased by 472%, and their cost per applicant decreased by 533%. Now those are big numbers, right? Because if you can specialize and target sites beyond just a single site, even if it's at a small dollar value, you're going to see huge increase in performance. So I hope this case study makes you aware that, and this programmatic solution, programmatic capabilities, it's a big word that can be implemented by anybody, by small retail outlets, mom and pop restaurants, as well as large enterprise employers. And if you don't believe me, just ask Domino's, because there's now about 1,000 Domino's franchisees that are using PandoLogic's PandoIQ to automate their talent acquisition process. So I hope that gave you a good introduction to programmatic and to a sense of how the market is changing for the way in which we advertise jobs, and how you can be part of the revolution in helping this change occur so that your organization benefits from better, higher quality hires faster at lower cost, but also your talent acquisition team benefits by being able to spend their time and resources on more than just job advertising. So we'd love you to join the revolution, and you can do so by contacting me on LinkedIn or going to pandologic.com. On pandologic.com, you can actually request a predictive performance report for your jobs. And if you do so, fill out a short form. We'll take a look at your jobs, we'll run them through our model, and we'll give you a prediction as to what we think we could do to help your hiring process. So that's my offer to you today, to help you join the new talent revolution. Peter, thanks for allowing me to present a little bit and define programmatic. I'm happy to address any questions that anybody has on the topic.
Thank you, Terry. Let's just see here. We have a question on, do you have a slide for that? But Linda, I'm not sure what you're referring to. Can you give me a little more detail so I can pose that question to Terry while you're giving us for your contact information? So I think you said contact you on LinkedIn or via the website. Is that correct?
Yeah, if you go to pandologic.com, you'll have the ability to request a predictive performance report. If you want to reach me directly, my email is tbaker@pandologic.com, or you can find me as Terry Baker on LinkedIn.
Another reason to go to PandoLogic, I should say in the interest of full transparency, PandoLogic is a TA Tech member organization. But another reason to go to the website is that they have one of the best blogs in the talent acquisition field. They post a lot of great content that can be helpful to you and your team. So, sort of a double benefit. Go and get that free predictive analysis, and also take advantage of some of the insights at their blog. Okay, any other questions for Terry? Okay, I guess not.
All right.